I'd like to thank you for inviting me on the show. It's such an honour to be here, and I'd just like to say that when I'm not playing Xbox with my mate Thor, I really like to listen to my favourite podcast, Pop Culture Pasta. Hey Dave, I'm thinking about doing another revolution. Do you want to join up? I might need some help with organising the pamphlets though.
Pop Culture Pastor.
Okay. A lot of people don't know this, but Cody has been listening to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You nonstop.
272 times.
It is number one on his end of year Spotify Wrapped. Probably. I can't confirm that.
I can confirm it is not.
It's a very popular song. Is the Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I have a feeling Mariah Carey might get brought up later in the show.
Really?
And she might get trashed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, why?
So I'm not going to spoil anything. So
It has to do with the movie Wicked?
maybe not. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay, wow. I feel like I'm about to learn something. I have no idea what's coming because I have no idea what you're teasing here.
Okay, and it's not my thing I'm teasing, so.
Okay, so we're going to get, apparently Cody's going to drop a bombshell on this pod, so you got something to look forward to.
Hot takes.
All the hot takes. This is after that he slandered Tim Daly from Wings. Wings is Tim Daly earlier. I don't know that Tim Daly deserved that.
But the three names I listed were significant. So I don't feel like I was in the wrong for saying Tim Daly was the fourth person from Wings that I would have asked for.
Also, you're listening to the podcast where you're probably the only podcast in the nation right now where the two hosts can name four of the actors on 80s sitcom Wings.
It was great.
I mean, Steven Weber was clearly the star. Thomas Hayden Church, he was coming into his own.
He was, and then Tony Shalhoub's the one that broke out.
For a little bit. But I'd say Thomas Hayden Church is probably the biggest now, right? I mean, he's gotten Oscar nominations, hadn't he?
I feel Monk might be close to an EGOT.
Oh, okay. We'll have to look that up just some other time because I'm not that interested in Tony Shalhoub. This is Pop Culture Pastor, the podcast. My name is Dave. Cody's here.
I am.
The other delightful voice you've heard is Leah, Cody's lovely wife. She's also joining us today.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And this first part, we're always going to talk about the news. And we might as well stick with Mariah Carey. The All I Want for Christmas Is You thing. Did you ever like this song, Leah? Is this like when it first came out? Was this a bop?
Like, it's not a song that I associate with Christmas. I just don't. But I'm not a Mariah Carey fan, so that's really hard.
Yeah, it came out. I'm surprised that it came out in 1994 because that was my last year in high school, and I didn't think it was that old. But
no,
I thought it was older.
I knew that was
it has been around forever.
We have been in an eternal loop of Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I feel like the people from that I'm just trapped with Mariah Carey.
It is kind of, I mean, we joke about it, but the numbers on it are sort of crazy.
Yeah.
First of all, there's a holiday Billboard 100, which
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what that's about, but it is number 10 on the literal Billboard chart, the big one. 30-year-old song, number 10 on the Hot 100. This is crazy. Are you guys ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this. A report by The Economist in 2017 alleged Carey earns around about $2.5 million every year in royalties from All I Want for Christmas Is You. The New York Post reported the figure is more like $3 million, according to Forbes.
That's change you find in your couch.
$3 million every single year for a song that debuted 30 years ago.
That's crazy.
So what I associate with this song is capitalism and commercialism. And so capitalist Cody, all about this song.
But you're complaining. So this is clearly communist Cody.
This is Krampus Cody.
Krampus Cody.
There's a lot of different versions of Cody, and they have different thoughts about this. But no, like this song is in like every other holiday commercial, and I feel that it is advertisers that are keeping it going.
I mean, maybe, but listen to this. Okay, first of all, she made $60 million the year it was released, just from the royalties the year it was released. So $60 million when it was released, $3 million per year since, and this year it's already looking like one of the banner years for it. Okay, so this is the total amount of times it's been played on Spotify. This is wild. 1,932,308,531 times on Spotify.
Just this year?
No, that's all time.
All time.
A billion. Almost 2 billion times. This year, and like, what's the date today? December 4th?
Yeah.
This was just on December 1st alone. 8,211,035. 8 million plays on December 1st for a 30-year-old song. Like, come on, man.
Well, now
Bing did not create the best Christmas songs of all time for us to be listening to Mariah Carey 8 million times.
Correct.
Nat King Cole slander there, but
I'll take Nat.
I will say that now there's not only just the commercialism component, but there's also the meme component, and like it is a meme that Mariah Carey posts about. It's what all the Gen Zers are posting, and like, oh, we can finally dethaw Mariah Carey because it's Christmas season, and then boom, song starts playing.
It has turned into a kind of a running joke, but I don't know. For me, well, let's ask Leah. Leah, what is the best Christmas song of all time, and why is it "Little Drummer Boy, Peace on Earth" by Bing Crosby and David Bowie?
Oh, that is a good one.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
No, Cody's already shaking his head. Do you have a favorite?
I do. Nat King Cole's "Oh Holy Night."
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, "Oh Holy Night" in the hands of any capable singer is pretty spectacular. That's kind of one where I don't care how good of a singer you are, it's the song that elevates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that song is maybe one of the best songs ever written.
It is.
It's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite Christmas song, Leah?
That's really hard because Christmas is my favorite. I love Christmas carols. I love the hymns. So it's really hard for me.
So what's your go-to? Do you have a go-to album? Maybe? No. You're just here for all of it.
The NSYNC Christmas album is the go-to.
12-year-old Leah, yes. For sure. I sang it at a talent show. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
There you go.
I mean, was I proud of that? No, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
I bet it was amazing. It was probably amazing. Anyways, yeah, it's the Christmas season, and I saw that headline today. We need to talk about Jared Leto.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Jared Leto?
It's Morbin time.
The other day, a couple weeks ago, I tweeted, sometimes I just think about Jared Leto pulling himself across the floor of the set of Morbius by his hands to go to the bathroom and thinking about looking at all the other people's faces as he did it. And I just laugh and laugh. It just gives me so much delight because I wish I would have been there. I would have secretly filmed it with my phone and been like, this is crazy.
While at the food table.
Do you know Jared Leto's 52?
Yes.
That sounds right.
Look at this guy. That dude is not 52. How is he 52? I am 48, and I look like his grandpa.
No, you don't.
He was in the news recently because he apparently, so he put on Instagram that he found found my Oscar. He shared it on Instagram.
He won an Oscar is news.
Was it for Dallas Buyers Club?
It was for Dallas Buyers Club. And he did win an Oscar. And it's probably made his career ever since. Because some of the shenanigans he's pulled, I think, wouldn't have flew if he hadn't been an Oscar winner. But yeah, he won it for Dallas Buyers Club. Apparently, so back in 2021, he did an interview with James Corden. And Leto was talking about that he had lost his Academy Award. Now listen to this. Quote, I found out that it's been missing for like 3 years, and I didn't know that. I don't think anyone wanted to tell me. I moved houses in LA, and when we moved it somehow magically disappeared. It could be somewhere, but everyone searched for it high and low. But I hope it's in good hands wherever it is. But we haven't seen it for quite some time. Now imagine being so rich.
Yeah.
That you move houses, you don't even have to keep track of your stuff, let alone your one Oscar.
One. Yeah.
Like, I don't think Oscar's coming down the pike anytime soon again for
If
old
ever.
Jared. No offense. He won one. Nobody can take that away from him. But like, you ain't winning it for Morbius.
Maybe if they go back in time.
When I read this, I was like, wow. Imagine moving. Well, first of all, imagine just not knowing where it is.
Yeah.
Like, if I had one Oscar, that thing, I might just carry it around with me. I just hold it in my hand as I walk down the street.
I would have the nomination letter framed.
Right? Like, wait, you had no idea you didn't know it was lost? That stuff would be in like a display case at the center of my home.
Look at me.
Cody would have it on her coffee table like it was a Dundee.
Yep.
People would be like, is that an Oscar? And then I'd be like, oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You noticed? That old thing just gathering dust.
I won it. Playing Morbius and Morbius 2. Yeah, so anyways, he found it. Crisis averted.
I would have guessed it was for American Psycho.
Oh,
Was
yeah,
he in that?
Yeah, he is.
Was. His character dies.
Oh, man. That's
Yeah.
been so long. I almost forgot
Yeah.
about it. How about a little RPAT news? You want some RPAT news?
Yeah.
Our bat.
He's doing some interviews. I don't know why he's out on the interview circuit, because I don't think he's really got anything coming out right this second. But
Batman 2 doesn't come out for a year at least.
he told this story of an airport employee asking why he quit acting after Twilight. So like, he's walking through, imagine you're Robert Pattinson and you're walking through the airport, and this airline employee's like, oh man, I loved you in those vampire movies. Twilight, why'd you quit acting, man? And he said, he literally said, I'm Batman?
Where that's all Michael Keaton says anymore.
He's pretty, how do you miss that? I mean, he works a lot, I'd say.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny that some guy that would, like, I would probably be the guy that intentionally did that. Just be like, oh man, I loved you in the Harry Potter movie. That was fantastic. Cedric Diggory, man. You rocked.
The Goblet of Fire.
What have you done since then, bro? I've been missing you. He also led on that he did this interview way back when, in his younger days, where he said he witnessed a clown car explosion.
Yes, as any kid that goes to the circus does.
And a clown literally died. He said in the story, like,
He claimed
a clown
that.
blew up. And then recently, in this interview he said, I just made that up, and I don't even really know why.
If you were in the hit movie Twilight.
Do you guys ever do that? Do you ever, when you're around people and you got like that, maybe it's new people and you got like that nervous energy, and you just like tell this random made up story, and then like, as you're telling it, you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Why did I just make up that story and tell it like it was real?
It has never gone that far. That,
No.
like, I
know
up,
people that have done that. Not me.
that made up like someone dying in your made up story. But yeah, no, I do know a guy though that was at a funeral. It was for a close family friend, and then this guy had a friend that was kind of an outcast, and he came to the funeral. He did the open mic thing, and he got up. He said, did you guys hear about the fire at the circus? It was intense. And then that was all he said. He didn't say anything about the guy. So I like to think that story's real, but that story might be fake.
Intense.
Yeah.
Speaking of Batman, there was an article here a few weeks ago that Christopher Nolan was selling, or not Christopher Nolan, but whoever provided the tumblers, the Batmobiles for the trilogy.
Yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, they were selling them for, what was it, like $2 million a piece?
$3
million a piece. Okay, and they actually work. They run well theoretically. I mean, they
didn't street legal.
They didn't have, as Jack Nicholson's Joker would say, all those cool little toys. He has all the best toys.
You need to have Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas money.
But
yeah.
So they were selling these, and recently at a Bengals game, apparently Joe Burrow, quarterback for the Bengals, was mic'd up, and he led a teammate in on a little secret he had that he had purchased one of these Batmobiles, but he doesn't get it for a year, which I thought was weird. I was like, wait, what?
Well, I mean, I think if he lived in LA, he might be able to get it quicker, but you're in the middle of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati ain't exactly Madagascar, Cody.
Like, you can't drive it to Cincinnati.
No.
That'd be pretty cool if they did, though. Yeah, how they gotta ship it there. Well, first you got to get it out of the Batcave, which can be difficult if you're not, you don't want to put miles on it.
And are you going by train or plane? I don't know.
Is there a Bat train? That seems like a vehicle they should have taken advantage of at some point. Yep. The Bat train. There's a Bat plane. Isn't there a Bat boat?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a boat. Yeah.
The boat's cool.
The Bat yacht. Do you play yacht music on the Bat yacht?
I would.
Yeah. That'd be kind of crazy. All right. That's all we got for news. How about we play the movie game? You guys ready for the movie game?
Mm-hmm.
This time is for bragging rights of the household.
Oh, man, it's going down. The movie game coming up next.
You are listening to Pop Culture Pastors.
All right. We're back. It's time to play the movie game. We do this every time we have a guest. And basically, to refresh the rules for Leah, I am holding in front of me 3 profiles, Rotten Tomato profiles of 3 movies. One a bad movie, one a mediocre movie, and one a good movie, according to Rotten Tomatoes. And we will go step by step, and you'll try to solve it as quickly as you can. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. So Leah, you're the guest. You get to pick first. In my hand, I'm holding an 11% certified rotten movie, according to Rotten Tomatoes. I'm holding a 53% mediocre Rotten Tomato movie, and I'm holding a 90% certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes score movie. Which one would you like to try and solve?
Let's start high.
We're gonna go with the good one. All right. 90% certified fresh for a movie that came out 2004.
Oh.
I feel like it being older or newer would help me more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cody.
I'm trying to think.
Cody is thinking, and he's going to end up guessing the one movie he always guesses. And it's going to be wrong. Do you have a guess? No one solved it on the first one yet, right? You did once.
I did once in a tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. It's so hard to do. It's really lucky.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what came out in 2004.
Yeah, you just throw a movie out there.
Wasn't Signs.
No, but I did think that came out in 2004.
It
came out in 2003. That was the one I got on the first one.
Oh, was it? Okay. All right. Level 2 is the second billed actor, which is Hilary Swank. 90% certified fresh, came out in 2004. Second billed actor, Hilary Swank.
I can't remember if it's called Boys Don't Cry or Girls Don't Cry.
It's Boys Don't Cry, but that's not the movie they want. But also,
I know what it is.
Hilary Swank was great in that. So level 3. So this is interesting because usually level 3 is not that helpful, but if you know the actor that was named, you can guess another one of the movies. This might be interesting.
I got it.
The audience score is 90%, exactly the same as the critic score. Hilary Swank, movie came out in 2004, 90%.
$1 Million Baby.
It is $1 Million Baby. Level 3.
They gave Clint Eastwood the top billing?
They did. Because he's like, 85. He was 80. Or however old he was back then. And he's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
I don't think Hillary complained.
No.
She got the Oscar for that, didn't she?
Yeah, but, I mean, it's about Hillary Swank.
It's about her old coach, too.
Yeah.
Poor Hillary.
You don't like her.
Look, now...
I don't.
We're here to review a female-driven movie in a little while. Can we don't need to go on a crusade now for a 2004 Clint Eastwood.
Stop it, Krampus.
Old codger movie. All right, Cody, you need to solve this by level 3 to pull out the tie. Would you like to try and solve the 11% or the 53% movie?
53 it be.
Okay, we're going mediocre. We'll put the other one aside in case we need a tiebreaker.
Bad.
53% critic score also came out in 2004.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm living for the day where it's actually going to be Pirates of the Caribbean 2, and you still get it wrong. And it'll be hilarious. Okay, second billed actor for this 2004 mediocre movie, Rachel McAdams.
Oh.
Rachel McAdams, 53%. Came out in 2004.
Mean Girls?
It is not Mean Girls. Not Mean Girls. I feel like you had a good chance at that one. But we move on to level 3. This is for the tie. The audience scored 85%. The audience score is through the roof compared to the critic score.
Oh, my goodness.
Rachel McAdams, 53% critical score, 2004, 85% audience score. Audiences
The Notebook.
It is The Notebook. We have a tie. We're going to a tiebreaker.
Oh, I should have known it was The Notebook.
I should have gone with that one. I knew.
Mean Girls is probably like 2000.
Okay, this is going to be fun. So the tiebreaker is going to go like this. I'm just going to go through the levels. I'm going to give you a few seconds to answer, and whoever just yells out the answer is going to win.
Okay.
Okay, but this one's going to be tough. This movie, 11% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes, came out in 1994.
Ed Wood.
This is not Ed Wood. The second billed actor is Raul Julia. Do you guys remember Raul Julia?
No.
This is bad.
The audience score for level 3 is 20%, so a little bit higher, but mostly still rotten. It's got the little popcorn bucket tipped over. Nobody liked it.
Oh, this is bad.
Level 4, the first billed actor for this 11% movie in 1994, starring Raul Julia. Number 1 actor, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, it's not Kick Fighter.
Well, that's not a real movie, so you know. Kick Fighter?
No.
Is it
Kick?
Yeah, Kickboxer?
Sir, yes, it's what I was thinking, but yes.
Yeah, it's not. No, it is not
Bloodsport?
Kickboxer. It is not Bloodsport.
Good guess.
It's time for the blurb. Someone's going to get it here.
It's Leah, because...
Maybe. I don't know. This one's hard. A crack team of martial artists accepts a dangerous mission to rescue hostages kidnapped by an evil dictator.
Like, if you would have asked me this 20 years ago, I would have got it on the first clue. But
this is amazing because nowhere in that... We'll have to move on to a different
Mortal
tiebreaker.
Kombat.
It is not Mortal Kombat, but
not in that,
is Street Fighter.
No!
How does the blurb not tell you that it's based on a video game? What that I already know why that movie was awful, because they didn't tie it to the video game, which is what people liked. All right, double tiebreaker.
This is the first double tiebreaker we've ever had.
We can't do that one. That's way too hard. 36%.
Oof.
36% critical score on Rotten Tomatoes. Came out in 1992, so a little bit older.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
There was no way that would be that low.
No.
People love that movie.
Well, I'm trying to go early.
The second billed actor, Luke Perry.
Oh, 8 seconds?
It is not. He was the top billed actor. What kind of Luke Perry slander is that, bro? The greatest rodeo movie ever made? Come on, man. Luke Perry, 36%. The audience score for level 3 was 43%, so a little bit higher. for this 1992 movie. The top billed actor, Kristy Swanson. You guys don't remember Kristy Swanson?
Yeah, a little bit.
Kristy Swanson and Luke Perry in a 1992 movie, 36%. We move on to the blurb. This one you will get. A typical teenage girl finds out that she has an uncanny knack for killing vampires.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Leah wins.
So I definitely have never seen the movie.
What?
I've never seen that movie either.
What?
Yeah. Sad.
So I didn't know there was another Luke Perry movie out there.
I was aware of the movie, though, and that it had Luke Perry in it and Kristy Swanson.
Yeah, that's not Sarah Michelle Gellar. So
yeah, well, if they didn't make this movie, there wouldn't have been a Sarah Michelle Gellar. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah,
will do.
All right, that was a fun round of the movie game. When we come back, we review Wicked. Greetings. Dave's Blurb Voice here. In a world where we do movie reviews on a podcast, you need to be aware that we are going to spoil the nerd out of this movie. We know that spoilers aren't everyone's cup of tea, so if that's you, go ahead and hit pause, see the movie, and then come back and listen to this thrilling podcast later. The Pop Culture Podcast movie review starts now. All right, you guys, I should start off by saying, first of all, that you just heard the spoiler warning. We'll just give you another warning right off the bat here. If you have not seen Wicked and you do not want to be spoiled, you should not listen to this part of the podcast, because we are going to talk about the movie in depth and the parts we liked and if there are any we disliked. And yeah, we're going to get into this. And possibly, maybe the book too. I don't know.
Definitely the Broadway play?
Definitely the Broadway play.
Musical.
Because obviously that's where this one takes its notes from.
Yep.
And yeah, so Wicked, released November 22nd, just recently, is currently sitting at 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So this was hyped up to be the second Barbenheimer.
With Gladiator 2?
Yeah. It was going to be Glicked or Glicked.
Yeah, no. One of those movies cannot hold up that end of the bargain.
Yep.
Not even close. And if you listened to our pod last week, you know everything we had to say about Gladiator 2.
Denzel did his best.
I was pretty hard on it in retrospect as I thought about it all week and saw that some people kind of enjoyed their stay with Gladiator 2. I don't know why, but I was like, well, maybe I was hard on it, but I did watch Gladiator 1 the night before.
I think the people that really liked it haven't seen Gladiator 1 in a while.
Well, they should totally go back and watch Gladiator 1. But wait to do it. Wait till Gladiator 2 comes out on streaming and then watch them back to back. And you tell me that Gladiator 2 is not an awful movie. Mm-hmm. It's just so bad. Mm-hmm. Which made this movie so refreshing.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
Because Wicked, based on, of course, the Broadway musical, which is based on Gregory Maguire's novel, which has a whole long subplot, right? Or subtitle. Do we know that?
I do not. I'm going to make you do research.
Yeah. It's based on Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, published in 1995, written by Gregory Maguire. Have you guys read that book? I have. I'm not a huge book reader, but this was a book I read back whenever, close to the time it came out. Mm-hmm. Wonderful book. Absolutely great book. We'll talk about this more. I'll drop a couple things here and there, but the book's much darker, as one might imagine.
That's what I've heard.
It's
what?
Yeah, it is much darker and goes into and much more amorphous as far as good guys, bad guys, that sort of thing. And it's much more about politics and the politics of power and and who wants it and who desires it, which is pretty much everybody. And yeah, Elphaba in the Broadway musical is presented as much more of a hero.
Anti-hero.
Whereas in the book, I mean, she's like, by the time you get into the all-out kind of conflict of it, she's like a kind of a terrorist.
So, and all this is, of course, based off The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum.
Yeah.
Which I had to study that in 7th grade history, 7th or 8th grade, because it is an allegory for the Populist Party.
Yeah, so like something like back during the Industrial Revolution, right?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, so that it being an allegory for something that is, way beyond before our grasp of, like, it's just for something that we wouldn't even think about now.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was specific to that time. But it's turned into, of course, this children's classic, which, I don't know, we could talk about this at the end maybe, but be thinking about it. What does this movie do to The Wizard of Oz? Because we've been talking about that a lot. Sequels, continuations, like you think about Cobra Kai and things like that. Just like we're kind of in this phase where we're doing a lot of these things, and our criticism for our critique of a lot of these things is that they don't think about how the things they change are going to affect the original story. Gladiator 2 sure didn't.
No.
Looking at you, everyone a part of Gladiator 2.
So I will say, and when we get to the end of this, remind me if I forget, but when we get to the end of this, I do have thoughts on what this does, specifically this movie and the Broadway musical does to the original story, because it's not as big of an issue in Gregory Maguire's novel. It kind of fits better, but we'll get there. Essentially, this movie is about, well, I'll just read you the blurb first. 89% of Rotten Tomatoes. John Chu directed. $145 million budget, which, considering some of the things we're going to talk about, it's not bad.
And Gladiator had like a $200 to $300 million budget.
And it's not like, listen, Captain America New World Order or whatever it's called now. Whew, that one, like, there's some people saying that's going to be a $400 million movie. That's
wow.
It's not going to make that. It's not going to make the money back. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Here we go. Here's the blurb. Misunderstood because of her green skin, a young woman named Elphaba forges an unlikely but profound friendship with Grande, a student with an unflinching desire for popularity. Following an encounter with the Wizard of Oz, their relationship soon reaches a crossroad as their lives begin to take very different paths. So yeah, it's essentially a movie about two sisters, really, kind of at the base of it. Elphaba and her little sister, and their family is all sorts of dysfunctional. It's very something they do differently than the book, and maybe even the musical. I can't remember if the musical does let you in on this early, but within the first 5 minutes of the movie that she probably does not belong to the father that she calls father.
Yeah. So it's been about 20 years since I've seen the musical,
but only 20 minutes since he reminded me that he has.
But yeah, I can't recall, but you learn it like instantly in the movie, and they don't hide it.
It's been about the same amount of time for me. So on my first anniversary, I took my wife to Chicago, where Wicked was playing, off Broadway, of course. But you still had to travel for it. And it was like the second cast. So it wasn't Kristen Chenoweth and Adele Azim. Idina Menzel, but I like John Travolta's nickname for her better. And it wasn't them, but they were still so talented. And I can remember that it was one of the, I had bought tickets for it because we had liked the book, and I really thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to suffer through this. This isn't my cup of tea, but I love my wife. I want to do something that's like she would really remember and like for our first anniversary. So I got tickets to this. And by the end of it, when they hit the last note of the finale, I'm the one who's like, yeah!
Yeah.
I had never seen a Broadway show. And if you've never seen one, Oh my goodness. The talent level is ridiculous. Absolutely stunning, these people and their voices.
So I'm 90% certain that I saw the first cast.
You saw?
I went to Broadway to see it.
He's apparently like sharing this story.
He has shared it so much that when we went to Thanksgiving at his parents' house, he told him that we went and watched Wicked the night before, and he's like, "You guys may not know this, but I saw Wicked on Broadway," and our little nephew, 4 or 5 years old, goes, "We know that. You've told us that. We already know."
Cody's big timing the rest of the family at Thanksgiving.
So weirdly, I went on a church trip. And,
oh yeah, I remember this story.
And
he told me too.
Yeah, I have. And we went to the UN. We did a whole bunch of stuff. Went to DC, but we went to New York and we saw Wicked, which, I mean, high school Cody was not into. So I didn't fully appreciate it. But then we went and watched Spamalot, Monty Python Spamalot, and loved that as a high schooler. I think my taste might be a little flipped.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, although I would still laugh at Spamalot. I'm not going to lie.
Well, okay, so the movie essentially starts off with us meeting these girls, and Elphaba clearly the main one, and we kind of rush through that. It's almost montagey, but we see their family has some rough dynamics, and her sister, who is confined to a wheelchair, kind of picks up as they're going off to college. Well, just the sister at first, right?
Yes.
But Elphaba kind of gets caught up in this thing. She unleashes some of her talent, which she can't really control. And she comes across the notice or the attention of Madame Morrible, played by Michelle Yeoh.
Yep.
And it just, all of this ensues kind of from this point at college where she is being trained to try to control this magic ability she has, all the while trying to handle the normal stuff one might handle when they're a late teenager going off to college, trying to fit in with a roommate you don't like. And at the heart of this story is this sweet story of two opposites who don't like each other but end up liking each other very much and becoming best friends.
As it always happens.
And the backdrop just happens to be this political intrigue of Oz, which from the book, this is my favorite part. Because it was like the grown-up version of Wizard of Oz. It was like the kid inside of me who loved the Wizard of Oz. The reason I loved the book was, as an adult, I got to dig into and it's kind of like, what you think of America as a kid versus what you think of America now.
That's really good. Yeah.
Right. Like, you understand, if you're like me, I was in a patriotic family and I thought, America was really the Lee Greenwood song. And I'm proud to be an American. I really thought America was like that. And now it's not bad. It's just complex. And know that humanity's complex and everything's more nuanced. And that's what I love about this story. And just right off the bat, what I think I want to say about this movie is none of the nuance is lost here. This is layered. It's complex, much deeper than the musical. I think they get deeper here, as which they have more time to do it. And so I'm happy about that.
Quite literally, when I saw the runtime for this movie, I was like, I don't think the musical even lasted that long.
No, well,
especially if you have a part 2.
Yeah, I mean, how long was this movie? It felt like it's 2.5 hours, right?
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Whew, yeah, it didn't feel that long. It was not unpleasant.
No.
So by the end of it, I'm like, we definitely have been here for over 2 hours, but I don't know, if it's closer to 3 or if it's just a little past 2.
Yeah. And so it all kind of leads to this this climax in the Emerald City where we find out who's good, who's bad. And this sort of crossroads that the two friends come to about what paths they're going to follow. And we can certainly talk about that because I have a feeling we will. But why don't we just start off with Leah? Leah, what's good about this movie? What did you like?
Everything.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing. I thought visually it was stunning. I thought the cast was really great. I think they did a really good. Ariana Grande surprised me. I didn't go into it very high hopes for her. She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't know why we have the Ariana doubts.
Well, no, I have that down in my notes. I'm old, so I'm older than you guys. So I'm not trying to diminish her, but she's a pop star.
Mm-hmm.
So people on the know like she has ability. She literally got to perform with Andrea Botticelli.
Okay.
Like no one gets to perform with him. Like this dude is.
I mean, nobody. Celine Dion performed with him.
Celine Dion, like one of the all-time great vocalists. Mm-hmm. Like it's only the greats that get to do that.
Mariah Carey didn't perform with Andrea Bocelli.
Exactly.
I have written here that Ariana Grande is good. It was the role of Glinda that I was most worried about. Mm-hmm. Because and it really has less to do with her than it has to do with Kristen Chenoweth. Elphaba has nuances to her character, to be sure, but Kristen Chenoweth was so good as the bubbly, dense, good witch to be, and I feel like it really became her.
Yeah,
like that was her in this in sort of a way. It was like a mirror of like this part of Kristen Chenoweth. And when I saw the trailer, the first trailer, that was almost enough just by the trailer itself to allay some of those fears. I was like, okay, she seems really good. And then I watched the movie and I thought, oh man, she's going to be now, like it was like the baton got passed. Mm-hmm. For people old enough to remember the original Broadway musical, it was always Kristen Chenoweth. But for the kids and people who watch this movie, I mean, she is Glinda. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was fantastic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cody, what do you have for your first What's Good?
Having the original two be a cameo in this one was a great surprise for me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that like that didn't get spoiled on X.
Yeah, that was wild, huh?
Because I'm like, what? They're in it?
With a new song, right? That's not a part of the original production.
Yeah, so...
And it was good.
It was.
I mean, of course it was good.
Yeah.
It's, it's Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. Of course it's going to be good. But yeah, that was delightful.
I was here for that alone. Like, that would have been worth my cost of a ticket.
It was almost fourth wall breaking because, like, the way they interact with the new girls, and their characters was just, there were like these little winks and nods that I think you'd have to probably watch it twice to get them all. Mm-hmm. But it was very meta. It was really cool.
It was.
I thought that was a nice touch. Mm-hmm. I agree. I have just the music in general. I thought the music was so good. And this is, I'm not ashamed to say, an original soundtrack of the broadcast recording, the original broadcast recording that I like had and listened to. Because like when I tell you I'm not a show tunes guy, that's not usually my thing. But when I saw this show, I was just so enamored with it. And the voices, and of course, Idina Menzel's, I mean, what can you say about her? Everyone knows her now. Back then, it was just like, who is this person? But now, when she get Frozen kind of made her a household name. And so you wonder, what's this going to be like? And I got to admit, there were some parts of the trailer where you heard some of the familiar music where I was like, I don't know. Because I think, sometimes when you listen to something a lot, that's the version you want to hear. Mm-hmm. So different doesn't always appeal to you right off the bat. But I can honestly say, I got goosebumps several times from the music, from the singing, and the music was fantastic. Yeah, how'd you guys feel about the songs?
I thought they were great. And again, back to Ariana Grande, she's a pop star. So to see her transition into more of an opera in a way, I just didn't realize she had that gift. And I thought the music was great.
It was wild.
So before the movie started, they had like a breakdown of like how they made the movie, and they're talking about like all the places that they had microphones, so that way they could catch the sound live and they're not like just lip syncing. And that,
I think you can notice
that was amazing to me, and like it really helped knowing that before going into the movie, because I would have just assumed, oh, they recorded it in a studio.
Right. So that would be the typical way they make a musical is you record this in a studio where you get like this, what's the word I'm looking for? This pristine sound, right? But they recorded their vocals live on set. And this approach was apparently advocated by the lead actresses, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And basically what they wanted was it aimed to capture authentic emotions and nuances in the acting of the numbers. And I thought, you can really see that.
Yeah.
And for me, that connected more to the Broadway show, that like, oh, it's not sounding pristine or perfect every time. There's subtle changes, especially with the emotional beats of the story. And them doing that for this movie, especially during the song where Cynthia is crying and Ariana's wiping the tears away.
Oh man, that was amazing. Yeah, the emotion.
I cried a lot.
Yeah.
But I think so. I watched a behind the scenes with Cynthia, and like they're spinning her through the air, and she is singing. And it as somebody who did a lot of plays, musicals growing up, I went to college on a vocal music scholarship, and to see that, and she talked about how she would have to reposition herself to be able to breathe appropriately, you know, and to be able to hit those notes. I just think it's extraordinary.
Yeah, that scene in particular, I did shed tears. They really her acting in that moment, and the tears, and Ariana wiping the tears off her as they're singing, basically because it just helps you feel the character of Elphaba's, just the desperation for someone to accept her. And in that moment when she does, it's just wonderful. You have this wonderful feeling.
And that moment was improv.
Was it really?
Yes.
What? There's quite a bit in the movie that is.
Yes, that there wasn't a calling for tears, and there wasn't a wipe my tears away. It just was, she started crying and Ariana started being empathetic.
That, I am stunned. That is legendary.
It is.
What?
And that is why we are Team Ariana in this movie.
Well,
listen, I don't want to diss Ariana Grande. I have written here, I wasn't trying to, it's just that she was a pop star. And it has nothing to do with her. I just didn't know a lot about her. And I think we're used to pop stars not being immensely talented.
Not multidimensional, for sure. Yeah.
Right? And my fears were unfounded. She's amazing.
So, my wife told me after the movie that we watched, her thoughts on Ariana Grande compared to a certain pop singer that makes $3 million every Christmas season. And what,
is this the Mariah Carey bombshell?
This is the Mariah Carey bombshell. Leah, share it.
That she's better than Mariah Carey?
That's what my wife said.
Ariana Grande better than Mariah Carey.
I think she has better range. Mariah Carey is known for being able to sing with the dolphins. Like,
which Ariana Grande can make the high-pitched whistle sound that only Mariah Carey could.
But even her lower register is phenomenal.
That high note she hits, I was just sure was not her in the movie.
Yeah, no, she's phenomenal.
But that's her. Like, I don't even know how you make that noise. How a human being can make that noise.
I don't know.
That's way higher than Mariah Carey gets.
But even in the club scene when Elphaba starts dancing, they never taught that choreography to Ariana. They told her, just watch Cynthia's hands, just watch her and see what she does and follow her. And they wanted it to be that way, so it looked legit, like it was real.
Watching this movie after watching, and I know, like, listen, the last thing I want to do is get in here and complain about comic book movies again. But seeing like the cardboard cookie cutout of the last year or two of comic book movies, and how it became cynical, where they're not actually telling stories. They're just like, it's like choose your own adventure almost. Like, you remember the books, the choose your own adventure books, where it just doesn't feel like it flows because it's not sincere. So hearing stories like this, where you understand these people really set out to tell a story and to tell it honestly, to say, hey, that's real acting.
Yeah.
Like, hey, she's going to do something and we just need you to react to it.
Yeah.
Because that's what your character's doing. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. What else is good? Do you have anything else, Leah?
I did, but then I just lost it.
The bloom of the gold variety.
The Goldblum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. I really liked his Oz head that they made.
Yeah.
And then like
Very steampunk.
Yes, very steampunk. And then like the voice sounded really cool. And then he comes out and then he's just Jeff Goldblum. And I was here for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually like say something real about the musical. I thought the weakest parts of the musical were anytime the main two characters weren't singing.
Yep.
And so like, I have no idea who the actor who played the wizard was in the musical version I saw, but I mean, he was fine. It was just okay. Whereas Goldblum, who's not like a classically trained singer, and you can hear that, but there's enough, like he brings the character to it so much.
Yeah.
Where it's interesting. It's good. It's like, wow, when Sentimental Man, it's good. And he seems grimy and like it's the exterior that says, I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
And you can see he makes it believable. He makes it like, I could see how people fall for his act.
Yes.
And Goldblum's always good though. It just wasn't enough of him. I need more Goldblum.
Part 2.
I have the sets here. So director John Chu emphasized practical effects to authentically bring the Land of Oz to life. He didn't want to do a lot of CGI. One example, they planted 9 million tulip bulbs to create the vibrant Munchkin Land backdrop. Those are real flowers.
Wow. I just figured where is it that they actually have field of tulips like that? I don't remember what country
UK.
it is. That's what I just figured they did.
That's where
amazing.
they did it. And that was real. And you could tell just by looking at these sets that they're real, that this is not CGI. That was also very refreshing.
I just was expecting that they had painted it. Old timey.
I do love it when a paint blows in the wind.
Well, and then when you look at the budget, you realize probably a lot of that budget went to the sets.
Oh, for sure.
Which, imagine that. The way we used to be done. Where the most expensive thing you're going to do is create this fantastical land.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any more? Because I got a few more.
Well, they definitely helped the bees.
Yeah.
They do. Hey, it's good for the bees. The story itself. So for the ones who have read Gregory Maguire's original novel that the musical is based on, you know that the musical is a departure from some of the darker stuff in the novel. But this movie, I was pleasantly surprised, doesn't shy away from the politics of Oz being pretty messy, the problematic dealing with the animals. And it seems like it's setting up a part 2 that's going to flesh out all the more serious stuff that the musical has no choice but to kind of leave out.
Yeah.
Just by nature of what the musical is, it kind of being more bubbly. I don't want to talk too much about it here because I don't want to accidentally spoil anything that people that don't know, that aren't familiar with the musical or the book, and they're waiting for part 2. But in this movie, they do hit one of the book's more chilling subplots, which is the systematic oppression of the animals. So Elphaba becomes an advocate for their rights, but the book suggests that her efforts to help them are kind of futile, or maybe even a little misguided. Like it's never quite so obvious that she's morally good. Everything's a lot more morally gray. We're not sure where to land in the book. And all of that's largely absent from the musical is kind of hard here. So like, for instance, I was so glad they went all in on this scene with the monkeys and the wings, sprouting the wings, and how painful that was for them. That was hard to watch.
It was. I cried.
Yep. She did.
The legend of Leah crying at movies is not lost on Pop Culture Past and our listeners. So.
And the legend of Cody not shedding a tear.
No, I was ready to walk out at one point because I was so mad.
Because he wasn't emotionally moved.
No, I want him to leave the animals alone. He'll be fine.
In the book, Elphaba is more of a morally ambiguous character, which I'm kind of hoping this is where this is going to go. Because I'm hoping that the willingness that they had in this movie to delve into the darker stuff here is an indication that they're committed to giving us her as a really nuanced character. As someone who's in ministry, I'm a chaplain. I like the depiction of humans as we actually are, which is nuanced, complex. And it's the line between good and bad is way more blurred than we like to give it credit for.
Yeah.
All right. What's not so good?
Okay.
Is there anything you didn't like? Cody's all over this. Okay,
I do have
Cody.
one thing. It's nitpicking.
All right.
And it will be a very specific me thing. So I don't think many people will have this issue. But Bowen Yang is in this.
Who?
Bowen Yang.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's the friend.
He is the friend. Quite literally on Google, they don't list his character's name.
Do we not know what his character is? He's the Asian guy with glasses, the funny glasses.
Yes.
Has he been on Saturday Night Live?
That is my complaint. So when I see him on there, all I can think of is him breaking character on SNL because he's not quite as bad as Jimmy Fallon, but you give him a few more years, I might think it. And so, like, it took me out at first for a little bit that, Saturday Night Live guy.
Okay.
But, I mean, he did good. So, it's a me-specific thing that, like, I recognized him from something else, and it took a while for me to adjust to him being one of the students at this school.
Well, that is interesting because I kind of like it when they break character on SNL.
I do too.
Some people
Makes me laugh.
love it. I'm good with it if you don't ruin the scene. Because Fallon ruined some great skits by just obnoxiously laughing.
Yeah.
And like others are keeping it together for the most part. And there's definitely parts where everyone should be breaking, but he would be breaking way before those.
Yeah, the original Matt Foley sketch with Chris Farley, where David Spade and Christina Applegate are cracking up, but they keep it together.
There's a way to do it, and I don't, like I said, Bowen's not as bad as Jimmy, but
Bowen Yang slander. That's what we're getting. That might be all we have. What's not so good? I honestly have nothing written here.
I don't either. Mine's blank.
It's just really good. This is a really good movie.
I did hear someone say, who is a huge Wizard of Oz fan, that 2 hours and 40 minutes was a bit long for them.
Okay.
And they loved the movie, but they said it was just a bit long.
Maybe I do have one tiny little gripe. This makes the Wizard of Oz incredibly sad, this story.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, like I can talk about this because we see it at the very beginning. We all know where this is going, and we all know where it ends for Elphaba. And that makes Wizard of Oz just incredibly sad. It's just a sad movie. And I don't know. Because Gregory Maguire, when he wrote that book, wasn't thinking... his book wasn't for kids.
Nope.
It wasn't. It was intense. It was that kind of a story, and he was just writing it because he had a kind of a thing he did with, like, he also wrote like a prequel to Alice in Wonderland that was kind of dark, and I don't know how many he ended up doing, but that was just kind of his thing. But he wasn't thinking, oh, they'll make this into a Broadway musical someday or a movie. I wonder if he's even still alive. If he is, he's super rich, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my only thing is Wizard of Oz is beloved. And by the time you get to the end of this story, it kind of ruins it, I suppose. But I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like a standalone story. I try not to connect it too much with Wizard of Oz.
Still alive. Still with us.
Okay. So the next obvious question is, how much is Gregory Maguire worth?
5 doll hairs.
No.
Quick Google says net worth estimated at $12 million. $12 million.
I thought it might be a little higher.
So yes, the Broadway play was successful, but he's only getting a small portion of that. The book, some people read it, named Dave.
That's right.
I'm going to read it now.
Oh, it's good. You'll love it.
And I imagine book sales will skyrocket because of the movie, just like they probably picked up a little bit after the play came out. But like, it's not Harry Potter, where like, oh, there's been 800 million copies of this sold.
Right. Okay, let's talk about this, because this might be the best discussion we have. Let's move into deeper themes. What were the deeper themes of this movie that you guys liked? Leah, do you want to go first?
Sure.
You don't have to. We can make Cody go first.
No, you're okay.
I just don't want us to take one that you want to talk about.
I think there was a lot of deeper themes as far as like how people can be easily influenced to hate certain people or villainize certain people just because someone told you to or a group told you to. And I think that we saw that with the animals, taking away their rights, taking away their voice by this man who's telling you he's going to do this because he's protecting you. So I thought that I think pretty much everybody on this planet can relate to that to some degree, especially with our political climate in this country.
The political propaganda is displayed well.
Very well.
Again, one of the things that differs from the book, I'm pretty sure it's been so long since I read the book, that I'm a little disappointed in, is there's the people that fall for that propaganda are there on campus at Shiz. There's much more student mockery of the animals. Like, that's not such a like, oh, they're coming in to take Dr. Dillamond and everyone is shocked,
right?
And appalled. No, I don't. If I remember the book right, no, there was a bunch of the student body who are right on. Animals suck, so.
They're taking human jobs.
They do a good job of just the political propaganda as a whole, showing how that all plays out, how they play the people, right? They play the people against each other.
They do.
Cody, deeper themes.
So for me, the power of friendship, even though like it may not have started off on totally sincere terms, like we're giving a hat just because it's an ugly hat and it's funny looking and my grandma makes bad hats. But then like to see it blossom and be carried out throughout the climax of the movie, and being something from when we start the movie, which is basically at the end of Oz, that like, oh, I remember her from school, and
played very well again by Ariana Grande. There's a lot of nuance in her acting there where you can tell she's not altogether stoked about Elphaba dying.
Yes.
But that she has, like, it's clear she has like a job to do, right?
Yes.
She's also like, okay, well, I got to be this person, which is another take on political things. Like, I'm sure we complain about our politicians a lot, but I'm sure if we were close personal friends with us, they'd tell us we can't be real.
Right.
Like, it's imperative that we're not.
Well, look at how much like our presidents age.
While in office.
Yeah. And you're told to put on a brave face and like, oh, yeah, everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah. Of course, among the themes in this movie, there's a racial quality with the animal stuff. I tend to think that was really on the surface. I like to dig deeper into it. That's the easy one that I feel like, Hollywood wasn't going to miss the chance to dig into that part. I find the deeper theme of identity to be a much more poignant and thing we don't talk about as much. Both Elphaba, it's interesting to me and lovely that both Elphaba and Galinda. The G is silent. And Galinda know that the other one actually cares deeply about how they're seen.
Yes.
About how their image almost. They pretend to not care, but they both care, but they cannot see it in themselves. They can see it in the other one. It's actually what brings them closer, right? When they understand that about each other, about how much they care. And it's just a beautiful picture of, well, I think a lot. We don't even understand that about, I think that's true for all of us.
Yeah.
I don't think we all understand how much we ourselves are affected by what people think of us, by how we think people are observing us. And I think the message of this movie is to try and be authentically you.
Yeah.
That's the big attempt. And it might be the hardest thing to do. I think by the end of this movie, Elphaba, even though she's driven by anger, she gets there because the scene where they all think she's going to pick, I want my green skin to go away. I want normal skin. And she doesn't. She says, I want you to help me with the animals. Right. She, in that moment, she discovers, oh, this is the real me.
Yeah.
The real me that cares about other people and cares about other creatures. And I think that there's the beautiful part of the story. The moment, there was a beautiful moment between Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande's characters where she realizes that, and Ariana kind of says the same thing. She says, well, she cares deeply about what people think, because Fiyero says she doesn't care what other people think. Actually, she cares a lot, and you can almost see,
show it.
And you can almost see in Galinda that she's also realizing, that's me too.
Well, and I also think that I was going to bring that up too. That exact scene where the club scene or whatever, when they point out that, and he says, she doesn't care what they think, and she's like, yeah. But I also think for Glinda, it was a brief moment of her in her shoes, because she's never had to worry about that. People love her. She's beautiful. She's wealthy. And so I think for a split second, she realized what the opposite of that would feel like. Yeah. And she was partially responsible for that situation with the hat. So I think there was a moment of empathy and somewhat regret in that moment. Yeah.
And so here's the cool thing about empathy is actually when you're engaging in empathy, you do so because you have a better understanding of who you are, right? We engage in empathy, and that literally means I'm going to walk beside someone and kind of put myself in their pain.
Yes.
Right? And you can only do that if you know who you are.
Yeah.
And it helps you to know who you are. And so in that case, what you're saying is really beautiful, that Galinda had no idea how easy things came to her.
Yes.
Because of who she was, how she looked, what her talents were. And she would have no idea what it would mean to be ostracized on sight. Right?
Literally. No words spoken.
Yeah. To understand that everyone had a judgment of you that wasn't great when you walked in the room. And you have no control over that.
Yeah.
People, so many people identify with what I'm talking about. People who don't look a certain way, people who are larger. I'm a larger man. People have opinions. As soon as I get up and speak in front of people, I know people have opinions as soon as I get up there. Some people do. It's just, it's unavoidable. And so if you understand that and you can empathize with that, then you see that this movie's so about identity. And I think it makes the ending of this movie so brilliant.
Yes.
Because some people think that they're mad at Glinda at the end because she understands she can't go with her.
Yes.
But I'm here to tell you, like I heard my wife said, that well, I'm mad at her. I don't like that she chooses that. I'm like, no. She goes that way because she understands that she'll be better serving the goal, the same goal that Elphaba wants, in her crowd because she has clout.
Yes.
Because she's that person, she understands. Like, Elphaba's going to go off and be like, play the part of terrorist organization.
Yes.
And she understands that she can move things from the inside. And I actually think it was good. It's good of Glinda in that moment because she understands who she is.
I think they both do, because Elphaba could have chosen to be with the wizard and be the most loved person in the land. She could have done that, but she chose what was right instead.
And
she knew what she wanted.
I think that's one of the deeper themes is choosing the best moral choice.
Yes.
Being aware of the greater good versus your personal gain. It requires a humility that I think as a culture we lack. And so having this movie and musical and book dive into a little bit that like, oh, there is these opportunities and you're presented with them, what will you choose? And that level of reflection of, well, I can help myself or I can help far greater.
Yeah.
So.
And I wish they would have that reminds me of one of my very small nitpicks. What you're talking about, that Elphaba had this choice and they don't, I feel like they don't play it up enough, and they cut a song that directly involves that decision. It's called Wonderful. And it would have been more Goldblum. And frankly, they could have cut out Sentimental Man and let him sing Wonderful, which is all about him telling Elphaba, one, it makes him more of a sympathetic character because he explains in the song how it came to be that he's this hick from Nebraska who just happened his way here, and they all thought he was this guy, and it was intoxicating to him. That's what the whole song's about. They called me wonderful, and how great that felt. And we already know that Elphaba is desperate for that acceptance.
Yeah.
And so I feel like them cutting that song is a bummer, because it plays into that part of the story so much more, in the temptation of what exactly she's giving up.
Yeah.
To say, nope, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for Recast It. This is where we pick one role to recast that you think improves the movie. This is a hard one because this movie's well acted.
It is.
Do you have one, Leah?
And this is probably going to be not a very popular opinion, but Bach. So that's Ethan Slater. Joe Curry.
Who's Joe Curry?
Joe Keery. Keery, sorry.
Joe Keery. Oh my gosh.
Joe Keery.
Yes. Steve.
I
from
think he
Stranger
has the perfect
Things.
face. Like, I just think he would have fit in that crew so
you're
well.
getting rid of SpongeBob from SpongeBob the musical?
What did he do in that movie that just blew you away?
He was SpongeBob in
That's all I can
SpongeBob the
hear.
musical.
Does he look the part better? Was it intentional on their part to make a lot of the Munchkins gingers?
I think so.
It seemed intentional.
Yeah.
I noticed that somewhere around halfway through the movie. I'm like, why do so many of these Munchkins have red hair? But I think you're supposed to see the Munchkins as kind of like a frowned upon race.
Yes.
Again, you're supposed to see them as a little less than. So, but I can see it though. I would have loved him in that role.
Oh, yes.
I'm a Joe Keery fan.
Me too.
I'm a stan. Is that what the kids say? I'm a Joe Keery stan. I'm all for it. Cody, who you recasting?
Michelle Yeoh.
Oh, okay. We're going similar directions.
Oh, wow. I thought I was going to be on an island.
No, no.
So if you would have asked me 2 years ago, I might have said someone else. But last year, a movie came out, and like this person's performance stood out to me, and I know this person can sing also. So the movie was the prequel to The Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going with Viola Davis.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Wow. Okay. I am going to go with the same recast, and Viola was my second choice.
Ooh.
I have a top choice, but if I had to, I was going to say Viola Davis would have been good in this role.
Yes.
I wasn't enamored with Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible. We know that Elphaba is desperate for acceptance. I just don't think that this version of Morrible is deceptive enough at all to really earn Elphaba's undying loyalty and commitment. I just kept wanting her to be more obviously manipulative while still possessing the charm.
So that's why I had Viola Davis in my head, because of the Hunger Games prequel, because she's playing up choreo.
Yeah.
And like, she definitely is the puppet master, and like, you're kind of questioning what's going on.
Yeah. And frankly, I just wanted her to be a little older. I just envisioned an older lady. Yeoh is 62, but she doesn't look 62. No. She's gorgeous. She's like, she just doesn't look that old. And I know this seems kind of a cheat when you hear the actress I picked. I'm going to go with Meryl Streep.
Oh, that'd have been a good one. No?
Which, right, you could literally replace any actress in any movie with Meryl Streep, and it makes it better because she's Meryl Streep, and I don't think anybody would argue with that. But it's hard because everyone's really good in this movie, and I don't think Michelle Yeoh was bad. I guess I just didn't. They play the character differently than I wish she would have looked like and acted like.
So if they had made this movie about 10 years ago.
10 years. Is this actress gone?
No.
She's not among us?
No, she's still amongst us, but she's 89. Julie Andrews.
Oh, yes. Well, because when I think of Madame Morrible, I think of who's the bad teacher in Harry Potter. The one that seems real sweet on the outside, but she's really evil. I'm not a super big Harry Potter fan. So, but yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of her name.
Yeah, I'm not a big enough a fan of Harry Potter, but that's who Madame Morrible kind of reminds me of, is that she should have this exterior, like Michelle Yeoh's exterior is tough. She just seems tough, and like, so right away you're like, don't really trust her. All right, but yeah, I'm going with Meryl Streep. Leah, who's the winner of the movie?
Elphaba.
Yeah, Cynthia Erivo.
Cynthia, yeah. She'll win an Oscar.
You think so?
Absolutely. Zero doubt.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna save what I'm gonna save for mine. But yeah,
and I think Ariana Grande will get Best Supporting Actress. So
they were very good. And hearing about like kind of some of the method stuff they did, like eat your heart out, Jared Leto. That's real method acting.
Yeah, exactly.
Not pretending to be someone when the camera's not rolling.
If you're not crawling to a bathroom
and making everyone wait
an hour and a half, then what are you even doing? I hate to agree, but I'm going to agree. But the reason I'm agreeing is just because I didn't know who Cynthia was before. Like, looking at the list of acting credits she has, like, I recognize quite a few of the movies, but they weren't movies that I watched. And so I was unfamiliar with her game, as the kids say. And so I already knew Ariana was going to be great. She already is a huge star. Musically, if you were a millennial, especially like middle millennial and younger, you knew her from the Nickelodeon shows that she was on. And she's just always in the news, it seems like. So, yeah, she doesn't gain much from this for me. It's Cynthia that gains.
Yeah. I have a feeling that the winner of the movie in reality will probably be Ariana Grande because she's the most recognizable person in the movie besides Jeff Goldblum, but she's a star and like people are, already loved her.
She did get to hold Glinda's staff from the original Wicked of Oz.
I saw that. But man, this might be the first when we've had guests on and reviewed a movie where we've been unanimous. Cynthia Erivo is so good in this. She's got that quality where I couldn't take my eyes off her when she's on screen. She could have had no dialogue in the entire movie and her eyes would have conveyed every emotion perfectly. Like, she's doing so much acting with her face and eyes without saying a word. And I just kept thinking, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, I am not, you guys know, I'm not someone who is prone to exaggeration. I think it's one of the best acting performances I've ever seen. Like, she's really that good.
She is.
In a musical, which is not usually, like, there's kind of I love old musicals, but there's kind of an overacting quality to it, like a Danny Kaye, like, like,
cheeky.
Yeah, cheekiness to it. And I really feel every feeling that she's feeling just by watching her. And and her singing and everything. I mean, we knew, like, she's a Broadway star, right? Isn't that where she starts?
I think maybe.
Is she a singer? I have no idea about her background. I just assumed. She's fabulous. She's fantastic. For me, this is a no doubter. She's the winner of the movie.
Yes.
I mean, she is just incredible. I can't say enough. And she's also gorgeous and beautiful, and everything about her just jumps off the screen.
Well, I think even the green made her 10 times more even. I mean, she was just stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning.
I think the way they did her makeup and made her, like, when you're reading the book, when Fiyero is starting to develop the feelings for her, it's way more kind of mysterious, and they're less obvious, right?
Yeah.
You're never really sure whether Fiyero kind of likes her, is starting to like her or not, because Glinda is so much more obviously beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But they did a perfect job in this movie making her look beautiful, even though she's wearing weird outfits.
Yeah.
Even though she's got green makeup on. Like, she's just stunning. I haven't stopped thinking about her performance in this movie since I walked out of the theater.
Me either. And, like, even how they had, if you watch it again, like, her nails change throughout the movie as she, like, the movie progresses. So sorry.
So,
I was really excited.
So she gets her breakout role on Broadway for the revival of The Color Purple.
Wow.
And then proceeds to act in movies, and yes.
Frankly,
Wasn't she in Harriet?
Yes, she's in Harriet.
She has a song in that movie.
Frankly, I think I agree with you. She should win all the awards. She's amazing. And I wouldn't have any problem with that. In fact, I'll have a problem if she doesn't win. She's that good.
Yeah, I don't see how she can't.
She already has a Tony.
Okay. Well, she could be on her way to EGOT.
Yeah, because...
How are you going to get her on TV? I don't know.
This is going to be at least Grammy Oscar.
Yeah. Who's the loser of the movie? Is there a loser? You can pick anyone you want.
I just think it's the guards that came in and took the professor. That's the loser to me. Jerks. I'm not over that. I cried about that for a very long time. Long time.
Is Dr. Dillamond made even more sympathetic by it being
Peter Dinklage?
Peter Dinklage's voice. You care about him even more. Like, don't you take Tyrion? Don't you do that? We just love Peter Dinklage so much.
Yeah.
There were people that did not realize it was Peter Dinklage, and I'm like, he has a distinct voice.
Oh, the lovely voice, too.
Yeah. I was just really glad they didn't make him a munchkin. Like, literally.
He would have had issue with it.
Well, that was interesting. They make the munchkins shorter as people, but they're not dwarves.
No,
they're not little people. So, Cody, who's the loser of the movie?
The person I recast, Michelle
Yeoh.
Literally Oscar-winning actress.
Yeah.
And she's just there.
She won her Oscar while they were filming this.
It's the one character that I feel like they don't do justice to, because in the book, she's really conniving and manipulative, but I mean, there's this range to her in the book that she just never gets to play in the movie. And it's almost like they just thought, it's too much nuance.
Yeah.
Not every character can have that much nuance. She takes away from Elphaba, she takes away from Fiyero, Jeff Goldblum, whatever. So yeah, I agree. She's clearly talented and capable. I just don't. It's the only role where I look at it and I think the writers kind of jobbed her there.
Unless part 2, she comes out and steals the show.
I don't think she's got a lot of a part to play.
I wouldn't think so.
Right in the story,
but
she's there. But I just don't. I don't know. I won't speak on it because I can't really remember. For me, the loser of the movie is Goldblum because I needed more Goldblum. Everyone needs more Jeff Goldblum. Is there a more perfect casting ever for The Wizard of Oz?
No, that was perfect.
Than Jeff Goldblum. I don't want to wait another movie for more of him because he's perfect for that role. Just the perfect style of actor. Everything about him says, yes, you should play this really amorphous kind of wild guy who finds himself in Oz and becomes a narcissistic dictator-like guy, although never really resembles that. He never really is outwardly evil. It's just you could see it polluted him, it corrupted him, and I just love that. I love that in the book he's from Nebraska, that he's Midwestern, because you can kind of see that. He's like, oh, it'd be like if Ted Lasso got a lot of power and got corrupted.
Not here for that.
No, but that's kind of what he is, and so yeah.
He wants all the power he'll never possess.
Leah, how many witches' hats, granny's hats, are you giving this movie out of 10?
22.
Oh.
10.
10. Perfect 10 score for Leah.
9.5.
Yeah. I notoriously have said this before. I have a hard time giving 10s because it's got to be perfect. And I did have a couple nitpicks. I'm going 9.5, 9.5. This is a really good movie, you guys.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Even if you think, I'm not really into musicals, you should go see it.
Yeah.
The last note of Defying Gravity, like if that doesn't do something to the inside of you, I don't know what will.
Oh, yeah, I was crying.
I've been telling people I've been defying gravity ever since
Cody
listening to it.
Has spent every night trying to nail that riff at the end of that song, and I'm like, you're not doing it.
Would you like to try it now live on the podcast?
I haven't warmed up the vocals yet.
All right, tell us what you thought of Wicked if you've seen it. It's really, really good. And let us know on the social media posts for this episode. As usual, if you like this pod, please do us a favor and subscribe to the pod if you haven't already. Go download some of the old ones and listen to those, and then give us a review if you like us. A nice 5-star perfect review always helps get the pod out there for others. We'll see you next time.
Pop Culture Pastor.